Alrighty guys, alright. I am back. I'm checking out Distortion 2's stream today. And wondering if I should do what he does. Like, just go like, no webcam. Like for example, like let's say this is the game, right? Turning off webcam. And you guys can still hear my voice. You just won't be able to see me. I'll try it for, I think, the last 2 episodes of Phoenix Wright. What y'all think? I don't suppose it's going to make a big difference anyway. I'm not really getting massive numbers on my live streams. That was the case on Twitch. That's the case on YouTube. I really just do it to have fun. Dude, I'm not really doing this for the income, but it would be nice to make something or other from this show. Alright. And I figure this way you can see more of the action, right? I have plenty of other videos on YouTube if you really need to know what I look like. Actually, I don't know. I'm actually looking pretty good today. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'll change my mind. You know what? I'll tell you what. If you'd prefer me to play with the webcam off, let me know in the comments. Or in the, what do they call it? The chat. They call it live chat on YouTube? Yeah, I guess so, yeah. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I just got up from a nap, so that might help. I tend to get drowsy, like, right around, like, 8:30, 9 o'clock, especially when I'm sitting in this recliner. Sometimes it really does seem like I sleep better in this recliner. Like, it's crazy. Good morning. Pearl, finally got over your treachery? Are you by yourself? Morning, Pearls. No Edgeworth, no Von Karma? Where are they? Mr. Nick, please tell me what's going to happen to Mystic Maya. We will not know, Pearl. We didn't actually get her out of that chamber in the investigation. Yeah. One of the main things we need to do in the investigation in part 2, and we didn't get it done. The investigation is still going on, so I wasn't allowed in the inner temple. Let's see, was Sister Iris still trying to remove those trick blocks in the training hall? We don't know who put them on. She's a defendant in this case, so she can't be at the inner temple. She's required to be here in court. How come she's not there in the defendant's lobby? I have to admit, it's kind of strange. You're looking for Iris. She's in the prosecutor's lobby. Oh, Edgeworth. Edgeworth. What's Iris doing over there? She's going over today's testimony with the prosecutor as we speak. Today's testimony? You heard me. Iris is going to be testifying as a witness for the prosecution. Wait, what? I believe she's still the main suspect. I have to keep checking my headset too, because I think it's maybe bent out of shape. Maybe that is the best way. Prosecutor is squeezing her for a confession. Or so I heard. The prosecutor in this case should be Godot, I believe. I don't know, we had, what, Von Karma? Von Karma versus Edgeworth, strangely, in the first trial. That was very strange. Even by Ace Attorney standards. The prosecutor is squeezing her for a confession. What are we up to? I thought it was Godot. I know what you're thinking, but Francesca isn't going to be prosecutor today. Actually, I wasn't thinking that at all. I was assuming it was going to be Godot. Yeah, I already knew that. Thank you. Thank you. One of the things I actually was able to put together on my own. Without referring to the guide, thank you very much. Francesca's engaged in some important work at the Sacred Cavern. So she can get Maya out of the chamber, whatever the heck it's called. Started watching The Wiz yesterday. I'm going to try to finish it again today. I'm going to try to start it over from the beginning because it seems pretty good. And I've also been trying to beat off-stream Majora's Mask. I've been playing a little bit of Bloons TD Sick and Hearthstone. And I have to say, I'm having a really good time with Majora's Mask. Like, I'm in the final section of the game, the Iconic Canyon section. I just beat the Water Temple Zora Cape, I think it's called. And what's cool is I've also been using a guide for that one, but what's cool is that the guides are helping me like get all the collectibles. Like, I'm getting all of the art pieces, I'm getting all the bottles. Stuff that I probably would never even know about, like the all-night mask. Like, dude, if it wasn't for the guide, I would probably have beaten the game and had no idea about the mask. It's one of those things, it's like, there's no way someone would know in a blind playthrough. And I was saying that, I said that a couple times, like, I think I said that for RE3. Stuff like that, like how would you know? I just completed the, I think it's pronounced Anju's Anguish storyline. And that's another one of those things where it's like, I don't know how I would even know about that stuff. You're supposed to meet Cafe, is that his name? I think. You're supposed to meet that guy in the laundry pool at like 4 p.m. And it's just like, how would you know that? how would you know? Anyone else keep going. She's been out there. This is the second to last episode, I believe. And I'm somewhat relieved. I'm tired of like streaming this every day. I'm very, very excited to get RE4 started. I think after I get done with this today, I'll try the Wesker mode in Resident Evil 0 just to see what it's like. After I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and uninstall. And then I'll reinstall, or I'll install, sorry, RE4 to prep for that stream. Which I believe, I anticipate will not start until tomorrow at the earliest. Again, I'm kind of just tired of playing. And like, I'm really tired of the commentary of this game. Like, the commentary of this game is, you know, if you've been watching the show, it gets to me sometimes. It does get to me. Like, I've been skipping an abnormal amount of dialogue. Even for Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Like, I think Ace Attorney I skipped the least. And then I skipped a fair amount in Justice for All because, again, it was very tedious. And then this game, I did not care. I think it's because Justice for All kind of like desensitized me in a way. And I'm still not sure if I'll do a review for this game. I've been kind of following a trend where I'll do reviews for the games I play after I beat them. So I did a review for Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, for example. I beat Fire Emblem Conquest Fates. And then I had a review for that up as well on my TikTok. You can find them on Stormer Show, by the way. My TikTok, Stormer Show. Spelled exactly the same way this channel is titled. And then I've also gotten reviews up for RE1, 2, 3, and 0 now. I believe the TikTok review for RE0 went up yesterday. And I plan on doing the same thing for all the other Resident Evils. Again, I'm not sure if I will do it for this game. But I've already made up my mind that I will do it for Majora's Mask 3D. once I beat that game, which I anticipate should be within next week, presumably. At my current rate. I've been beating like a chapter a day, so I presume that I'll have beaten the game by the following week or the end of July at the latest. At which point I should be going back to school, so it should just be right on time. Alright, bikini, great. This means that the last of the lock should be taken care of in about 3 hours. Why would she not be okay? She's in there by herself, isn't she? Everything continues to go smoothly when we receive some good news soon. I also have, like, a hobby of watching movies, and today I was, like, watching Hulk 2003. Sometimes I will review movies. As I recently commented, though, I tend to only review films now that I'm particularly impressed by, most recent being Barbarian. Just because I feel like I consume so much content, it would be like overwhelming to try to review it all. I don't know if I've talked about this on stream, I'm pretty sure I have, but I watched all the Toy Stories, all the Indiana Jones except for the latest one, obviously. I watched all the Pirates of the Caribbean. You know what? It just occurred to me. I'd never finished out the Star Wars. I guess starting back tomorrow, I guess that could be my new mission. Clearing all the Star Wars. But I also like watching like horror movies, and I haven't really been watching movies as much. I've been considering swapping out this TV with the other TV downstairs, the Roku. And I used to love watching movies on that. Like, I watched Hulk on that. And I may do a swap eventually. I've been using my old TV. The Tale of Two TVs is the main reason why I didn't get that TCL that was on sale for Prime Day, but you know, I'm kind of living frugally. Every summer, for the last few years, I've traveled somewhere over the summer. Last summer it was Europe. The summer before that, it was a road trip to, I believe, Nashville. The year before that was like Hawaii. The year before that was Cancun. This was like the first year in 5 years that I did not travel somewhere over the summer. But, of course, the advantage of that is I'm up like, I've saved a lot of money. And next summer, I could do the grand vacation that I was planning for this summer. I was planning on going to Japan this summer. But I could plan that for next summer instead. What I'm thinking is I'll spend a couple weeks in Japan, a couple weeks in China, and then fly back. And I mean, last summer when I went to Europe, that was the first time in my life I ever did something like that. Because I was there for 6 weeks. Just like road tripping around Europe. It was actually pretty cool. I got to see a lot of sites. Like I got to see Eiffel Tower, the Colosseum, the Trevi Fountain, Stonehenge. Like I got to see a bunch of stuff. All right, I'll keep going. I hope everything continues to go smoothly and we receive some good news soon. Yeah, thanks, Edgewood. Prosecutor Cadeau intends to nail this case shut today. Be prepared to fight like there's no tomorrow. You don't have to tell me that. Touche. I can already see it in your eyes. You're not the same fever-ridden, frantic maniac you were yesterday. Speaking of vacation expenditures, I was going to use that as an opportunity to plug my Venmo, as I sometimes do. Stormer Show. For those with the willingness and means to do so. Not the same fever-ridden, frantic maniac you were yesterday. What? Strange. On the way here, I decided that today would be the end of all this. Almost immediately after I made that decision, I felt myself getting stronger. Interesting. Maybe you passed your cold on someone else, literally. And with that, I leave the rest in your capable hands, partner. There were a lot of very strange revelations made in yesterday's episode. Like, was it yesterday's episode or the day before when we learned that Misty Faye was actually Elise Donan? Yeah, that was a revelation. We also had the revelation that Iris and Dahlia are Pearl's sisters. Who would have guessed that, right? But as I correctly guessed, Iris and Dahlia were sisters. I was thinking that they also could have been the same person, but they are apparently twin sisters. Pretty cool. What do they call it? Elbow bumping by Phoenix and Edgeworth. Still don't have answers for most of the riddles plaguing this case. Circumstances around the murder of Miss Elise Donan. No, I mean Miss Misty Faye. Why were we calling her Elise Donan? Was she undercover or something? Like, I don't know. Very unusual to use fake names. The impossible flight Larry claimed to have seen. Speaking of, Maurice. There have been a lot of, like, very strange things in this episode. What that woman's really after. That's the aunt, Pearl's mom. I forget her name completely. Aunt Faye, I don't know. I can't remember her name. Solve them all and bring this whole tragedy to an end. Okay, Phoenix. 10 o'clock a.m. District Court, courtroom number 7. Court is now in session for the trial of Iris of Hazakor Temple. Your Honor, what are you? Who, me? Well, my little brother came to visit me in my chambers earlier this morning. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, he developed a scorching fever and fainted. Therefore, I'll be standing in for him. That's your brother? I see, Your Honor. So the brothers, that explains a lot. My poor brother, he looked a bit pale. Not to mention sad that he couldn't be here. If I do a review of the game, I'm going to choose this song, if I can find it. It is so good, dude. It is the best thing about his character. I would say Victor Kudo's theme is an honorable mention, but yeah, this is the best thing in the game. It's impossible to predict what the future has in store for any of us. This is precisely why people feel the need to judge the past. What? We, the court, have been charged with the solemn duty of passing such judgment. Well said, Mr. Godot. Another voices are similar. I understood exactly what you said, at least up until the end anyway. I have no clue what he said. Now then, Mr. Godot, please proceed with your opening statement. Humans are fragile, fickle beings, are hard to change with the shifting of the tides. There's only one thing that remains a constant in this crazy world. The bitter darkness that lies at the bottom of this mud. We also had the revelation that Godot came back from the dead. Like that was definitely one of the more strange ones. So then you mean, forget it. What do you mean? During yesterday's trial, the accused refused to admit her role in the crime. But today, she had a change of heart. We can kind of put some of this together, like, Iris said she didn't leave Hazakor Temple, her sister is Dahlia. Several of these people have channeling powers, they can bring people back from the dead, Maya being one of them, Pearl being another. Pearl's actually trying to summon someone. We can kind of put two and two together, like it was probably Dahlia that did the murder. The ghost of Dahlia. Mr. Iris at Hasbro Temple has a confession to make. Confession. Defendant? Iris, why didn't she discuss this with me first? Very well, this court will not hear the defendant's confession. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask for her name for question. That's one of my rules. My name is Iris. I'm but a simple nun undergoing training at Hazakura Temple. Witness, is there something that you want to confess to? Yes. But first I want to apologize to Mr. Wright. I can't continue lying to everyone anymore. It's alright, what is it? Mr. Wright, I have to admit that I did play a part in this terrible incident. Okay. Are you actually confessing? Actually, she's been lying this entire time then. I mean, assuming, of course, that she did have something to do with the murder. Because this whole time she's been saying she didn't, right? You were the one who murdered Miss Elise Donut. No, I'm not, Your Honor. But I dealt with the cover-up after the murder took place. This is some weird stuff. Like, Ron stuff. Moving the body. After her spirit left, it took the lifeless shell of Mystic Elise and carried it to the Hazakura Temple courtyard where I desecrated it. Alright. Yeah, hard for the chorus for Felix, right? Order in the court. Order. Witness. Are you saying you were an accomplice to the murder? Yes, that's correct. Why would you move the body? I'll say what I said during the Ron case. Like, why would you move the body? I don't know. Everyone on the planet's an accomplice to something. Not true, you know, not true. This happens to be in this case, this murder. He says some straight up weird stuff, like, not gonna lie. Isn't that right, Mr. Trey? Back it up. This is the confession that we're confirming about. It pains me to say this, but it looks like Iris' testimony was all a lie. Crumpled and shoved in your pocket. I mean, I've been casting down on that testimony since day one. Like, certain things that Bikini said didn't make sense based on what Iris was saying. And for some reason, we didn't have the opportunity to talk to Iris about it. No, the old lady. If you don't mind, I've got a question for you. Whose crime were you trying to cover up by your actions? She's probably going to say her sister. Even though I don't know why that's necessary. Her sister has been dead. I've been at Hazakura Temple ever since I was a little girl. Hazakura Temple is run by one of the branch families of the Terrain tradition. I think this is all a bunch of nonsense. To tell the truth. Our mission is to protect the main family. Sorry about main family. Yes, and that's why I would dirty myself if need be to protect her. The daughter of the master of the crane channeling technique, Mystic Maya Fey. Huh? Wake up and smell the coffee tray. She's named Maya? But why Maya? Why would you need to cover for her? Order in the court. So not only did you witness the murder, you know the name of the murderer. I'm terribly sorry, but it's true. I saw her commit the crime with my very own eyes. Then I cleaned up the area to try to protect her. But why? Objection! He says. That's ridiculous. I didn't even see the second half of what he said. The judge just slammed his gavel so fast. The defense will refrain from commenting until the appropriate time. Now, witness, let's hear your testimony. What exactly happened on the night of the crime? Yes, Your Honor. I was prepared for the unexpected, but I never imagined the case would wind up going in this direction. The real murderer. I went to the temple that night and saw that it happened in the garden. We've all also seen this happen before, too, within this series of games. The dying person writes the name of the person who killed them down. I believe that happened also in Justice for All in that trial with Pearl and the ball. Or the urn, sorry. Yeah, the urn. Like he tried writing the name, but it was someone else who wrote it. It's happened before. I saw Mystic Elise strike Mystic Maya with her staff. While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Why didn't you do anything then? Mystic Maya tried desperately to defend herself and stole the weapon. Also, why would Maya attack? Yeah, why would she attack? It was only in self-defense. You can't blame her for it. Why would... I mean, that's her daughter, by the way. It was in self-defense. Yes, Mystic Elise was the one who attacked first. And it's Misty, by the way. That's why I tried my best to protect Mystic Maya. That's actually her mom, by the way. Moved the victim's body to the temple so that Maya wouldn't be suspected. Isn't that right? Not bad. You got the instincts of a true criminal. I'm sure it was established yesterday. The Iris never went to Inner Temple that night. The person who did was that woman. It's so confusing, dude. Like, she's saying she left Iris to be with the Acolyte, then returned to Hazakura, and then it's revealed that she would... Yeah, I don't know. It's just beyond confusing. Iris even admitted it. Now then, Mr. Wright, please proceed with your cross-examination. The real murderer. Your testimony has changed quite a bit since yesterday. You stated yesterday that on the night of the murder, you didn't go to the Inner Temple.
Objection!
Objection. Did she now? Too bad for you. What she said yesterday doesn't mean much today. I disagree. People can and do change their stories. Where were you when she claimed that she didn't go? Yeah, how would Phoenix know that? It was in the Inner Temple's training hall. Private conversation between the two of you does not constitute testimony. That would be properly described as hearsay. What do you have, What do you have to say? I just couldn't tell him the truth at the time. Mystic Maya, she's your girlfriend, isn't she? No. Actually, your dead sister was my girlfriend. I didn't want to be the one to break it to you that I saw her commit the murder. I understand how difficult this is. Let's continue the testimony. What'd you witness in the temple garden? How old is Maya, by the way? 19. Yeah, I had never thought of her that way, by the way. I always thought she was younger than that, too. I thought she was like 15 or 16. I saw... Alright. Hold it. You're saying that the victim attacked Miss Faye. Why would she attack her daughter? You struck hard on the head and looked like she was going to collapse. What were you doing at the time? Yeah, why were you just watching this? Why didn't you stop them from fighting? Terribly sorry, Mr. Wright. I was frightened. I couldn't move. I couldn't even speak. I was in such shock. What? That's perfectly understandable, my dear. What? Doesn't sound right. I believe for a minute. What happened after that? Just press everything. She moved in to deliver a fatal strike! Yes, I'm sure of it. She threw down her staff and reached into a rope for a weapon. Wait a minute. What was this weapon? It was some kind of dagger. A dagger, huh? And at least don't try to stab her with this weapon. Kill Miss Faye. Exactly. Ha. Ask her to amend the testimony. She looked like I did after I mistakenly took a swig of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce. I can never say it. Worcestershire sauce. You have a problem with the testimony we're hearing from a client, lawyer boy. That's Mr. Lawyer Boy to you. And the name's not Trey. Your Honor, I have a small problem with that witness's testimony. You do? But this witness is your own client. Yes, well, nevertheless, that's fine. Witness, let's add your last statement to the testimony. Hey, just a moment. It's my job to say that. Listen, Gramps, I'll say it again. Final judgment will be rendered by me. Okay, Mr. Fancy. Let's continue. The guy in the Power Ranger mask who came back from the dead. He can't. Okay. Miss Elise was trying to kill Maya. I think that's why she wanted a more lethal weapon. Not easy to inflict a deadly blow with the staff. Let me make sure I've got this straight. The victim herself chose to throw away her staff. That's what I saw. Is there anything odd about that, Mr. Wright? Didn't even get an opportunity to answer the question. She just talks. Like, of course, Wright would say her staff was actually a weapon. More so than a typical staff because it was concealing a sword. Why someone would throw away a sword and use a dagger instead is not clear. It's not even entirely clear why she would attack her daughter in the first place. Maya stole the weapon. Turned things around, and then she used the weapon she had taken and lunged forward for a strike. Alright, this is making less and less sense. Are you absolutely certain? Yes, but believe me, she had no choice. Misty Maya hadn't done something. Wife's name would have been written on the autopsy report instead. I don't understand why it wasn't added in the first place. Someone wrote Maya in the garden in blood. How was that not found in the initial investigation? Like... I mean, even if it was planted evidence, it should still be considered. All the circumstances need to be evaluated to have a fair trial. Why is getting a blame? Why is that a bad thing? If she had something to do with the murder, that should be fine. I only have this to say. Even in self-defense. So you're saying my fate was the one who stabbed Miss Lee Stone. Mr. Iris, is that really what you saw?
Objection!
Objection. Just tried. If your mug is filled with black and bitter suspicions, the only way to get rid of them is to drink them down quick. Like this. That's supposed to be a metaphor, but I don't get it. There's only one thing you need to get, Tribes. It's called evidence. I'll wait before my next cup gets cold. What does that mean? Is Godot waiting for me to point out the contradictions? I like to avoid the whole spirit channeling thing if I can. The only way would be inadmissible as evidence. I think it might actually hurt her standing with the judge. I may pick her testimony apart and expose the unnatural sounding parts. I don't know why Iris would tell a story like this, but there are two things I noticed that just don't add up. I believe they're both related to this staff. I mean, it's not even entirely sure why she would attack. Why Maya would attack her in self-defense, or why she would attack Maya. Because again, they're mother and daughter, actually, in actuality. I've said that several times, but just to point out how unlikely this is. I'm going to try to object here with the staff.
Objection!
Okay, that worked. Good. There's something strange about your version of events. This donut throwing her staff away makes no sense at all to me. All you can do with the staff is hit someone. I mean, even that, you could potentially defend yourself just with a staff. Like, the bow staff is actually considered a martial arts weapon. Like, people train with it. They do forms, just like nunchucks, or whatever they call them. Nunchaku, whatever. Just like swords, like they're all weapons. If it was a life and death situation, would I rather have something more dangerous than a staff? Absolutely, but I could definitely defend myself with a staff. It's almost like a baseball bat. Like you just swing it, hit him with it. It's definitely better than nothing, for sure. Because the good thing about the staff too is you have decent range with the staff. If someone were to be coming at you with like a knife or something, that staff could potentially keep them away and keep them from hurting you, potentially. Not only that, but with the staff, you can potentially knock the knife out of their hands without exposing yourself to risk or danger, which you wouldn't have the ability to do if you did not have the staff. You could technically still disarm them without the staff, but it's much easier to do with the staff because you could potentially like hit it out of their hands, for example, without having to worry about accidentally getting cut or stabbed with the knife. Anyway, you wouldn't know this, Sister Iris, but the victim's staff had a special feature about it. As you can see, it's a sword. If Elise Donham really had one to kill Maya Fey, she wouldn't have needed to use a separate dagger. Not when she already had a beautiful blade in her hands already. She already had a sword. Well, Sister Iris, what do you have to say?
Objection!
Whimsy objection from Godot, surprisingly. That was an impressive bit of investigation, Trey. I never would have thought there was a sword hidden in that staff. But even so, how should I put this? What is it, Power Ranger boy? A long sword is unwieldy and thus quite ineffective in close quarters combat. What? What? This is one of those times where I'm like seriously questioning the video game logic. Like, huh? A sword is unwieldy. What? Close quarters combat is basically the only time you could use a sword. Like, yeah, close quarters combat is the only time to use a sword because you have to be within range to strike someone with it or stab them with a sword. And even more than just a few feet, the effectiveness of the sword greatly diminishes because you have to close the gap somehow and make contact with the sword. Yeah, there are some maneuvers where people will like throw the sword to try to make contact with their opponent, but that doesn't seem to work as well. I'm surprised the game is saying this. Maybe that's why she chose the dagger over her blade. And this is pure speculation, by the way. I don't know why Godot would even say this. Maybes do not cut it in a courtroom, by the way. The type of what, like, maybe she did this. The type of weapon she chose to use isn't what's important. Yeah, it is. Because that calls into question Iris's testimony from the get-go. If she doesn't even have the murder weapon correct, I mean, what did she really see? You know, it calls into question the entire testimony. The important thing is that she tried to kill Maya Fey. I would agree, but we haven't confirmed motive yet either. So yeah. As long as there's nothing strange about that, there's no problem with her testimony. And there is something strange about that. We already know that Misty is Maya's mom. We already know the true identity of Elise Donham. Yeah, we already know the true identity. Prosecution has a point. Very well, Your Honor. The defense will now present evidence to back its argument. Mr. Wright, I have here another piece of evidence that shows that this testimony can't be trusted. Because Miss Elise Donham would never attempt to take the life of Maya Fey. Some evidence that proves that she's Misty Fey. Maybe it's the profile. It's gotta be, I think.
Take that!
Elise Donham would never have attacked Maya Fey. We know that. How can you be so sure? Because the victim's real name was not Elise Donham. Her real name was Misty Fey. Why should you even use that name in the first place is beyond me. You can't like an alternate ego. not Misty Faye. Who's this Misty Faye? Is she related to... Misty Faye is a member of the Korean channeling technique, the master of the channeling technique. She is also the mother of Maya Faye. Are you serious? I mean, that totally doesn't make sense. Is it really true, Mr. Wright? Is Elise Dunn actually the great Mystic Misty? I'm surprised she doesn't know that. I don't know why she's using a fake name. There's no doubt about it. It looks like Iris had no idea. You can hardly believe it. The idea that she would try to kill her only daughter, one she hadn't seen in 17 years. Perhaps the prosecution can offer some explanation for why she would do such a thing. Yeah, you know, enlighten us. Enlighten us, Power Ranger boy. Order in court. Hunt for hearing the witness's testimony. It seemed unnatural enough. However, in light of some facts that have just been presented, one, that the victim supposedly threw away a sword during a fight, and two, that the two people battling to the death were mother and daughter, despite the facts being believable and taken on their own. And taken together, the entire story seems difficult to believe. Listen, there's nothing in this world that is impossible. I mean, true, but it generally helps when there is some form of reason or logic behind why something happens. Because it helps to explain why something occurs. As I've said before here on the show, people don't really do things without rhyme or reason. There is typically a reason why they do things. And if two people have a pre-existing relationship, like mother and daughter, for them to attack each other, there would need to be some explanation for that. It's not impossible, but again, there would need to be some explanation. Except for one of the things. Yes, what is this one little impossible thing? Ah, still don't get it. I think maybe my beans are under roasted, but you've no idea, Gramps. And he's still talking about coffee for some reason. You get to your point. Human beings, ain't it? I heard this witness's confession this morning. Just as I had taken the first sip of my 8th cup of morning coffee. You're going to ruin your health, my friend. After hearing this woman's confession. Like, and I have been on a 0 coffee diet, by the way. I'm a teacher by trade. And our last day of school was, I believe, the last week of May. And ever since then, I have not had any coffee. Like, I think that last week of May was like the last time I had coffee. My coffee machine is down there collecting dust. And actually, I have another coffee machine there at work, too. Although I haven't been using it to drink coffee as much either. I've been using... The last couple times I used that, I think, was to make oatmeal. I had a detective who loves to investigate sent to the scene of the crime. And he discovered this little beauty. Why would Gumshoe not reveal that? Is that the dagger the witness testified to seeing? Obviously you're wrong. Do you not notice something else? How do you mention it? If you look closely, there appears to be blood on it. I mean, again, why would Gumshoe not tell us about that? Where did you find that? I didn't see that when I investigated the crime scene. Nor did Gumshoe bring it up when I talked to him. So that's very strange. He's the actual detective on the case. Did you investigate the pine tree at the crime scene? Pine tree? Yeah, I did, as a matter of fact. That's not a pine tree. I don't know much about trees, but I know it's not a pine tree. The dagger was stuck in the back of the pine tree. As a matter of fact, let's figure out what tree that is right now. Are they actually called bonsai trees? I guess it is a bonsai tree. Maybe it is a pine. Oh, well, here it says Japanese pine. Japanese black pine or black pine. Yeah, okay, I guess it is called pine. Japanese pine. I did not know that. Probably because pine trees here look dramatically different. Probably. Looking at them right now. Like pine trees or Christmas trees. Yeah, they're like Christmas trees here. Anyway. Slightly confusing, but it was really just my own lack of knowledge. And as a matter of fact, I did check that tree, so I don't know what... When the last blow was struck, ending the violent battle between the two women. This little baby was thrown in the direction of the back of the pine tree. The blood in the doctor belongs to the victim, correct? Ah, are you even listening, old man? I first heard this confession this morning, just as I had taken the first sip of my 13th cup of morning coffee. Did you say it was your 8th cup? I didn't have enough time to get the blood analyzed on such short notice. Wow. Why would you not? You find a dagger on the crime scene and you don't test the blood sample on it before bringing it to court. What? I ordered that a blood test be performed on it immediately. This is my sweetheart. Make sure you treat her right. What? Godot just keeps saying increasingly more eccentric stuff as the time goes on. Below, get this piece of evidence to the crime lab for testing immediately. Dagger out of the court record, found behind a tree, the blood is being analyzed. Could have been Maya's, we don't know. Could have been someone else's. Should also be tested for fingerprints, by the way. And again, I don't know how we didn't find that in the investigation, nor did Gumshoe find it, and nor did he say anything about it. The testimony we just heard had numerous unbelievable aspects to it. However, after having found the very dagger Lynn spoke of, I believe we can consider her testimony to be credible. All is not explained, though. You girls never lie, ever. Very funny, Godot, very funny. In any case, if you could please testify again to the court. About what, Your Honor? Yeah, please spare us, Your Honor, please. About the incident you saw, the battle between the two women. She already did that, though. She already did that. Instinct Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with the staff. Again, why would you even need to throw the staff away? And there's a sword concealed in it. Like, what? Makes no sense at all. She dodged Mystic Elise's next attack and stole her weapon. So she stole the staff. Mystic Elise, why are we still calling her that? I don't know. Was on the defensive with her back to the stone lantern. That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. So Mystic Elise had the dagger and the sword on her, and the cane. Why was she attacking her daughter? Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed. That was a very heartbreaking story. I don't know if there were any bad feelings between them, but it had been 17 years since Mystic Misty's disappearance. Perhaps they simply didn't recognize each other anymore. That still doesn't explain why she would attack. That seems reasonable. It doesn't help to explain anything, but okay. Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination. The battle. Mystic Master will briefly hold it. Press everything. Where were you standing when you witnessed all this? What do you mean? If either of them had noticed you, they might not have continued their battle. I mean, that's also true. I mean, even just seeing someone. And yes, it is strange she intervened, but I don't know if that's true. The two of them, they were standing near the garden store stone lantern. I was watching the whole thing from behind. Or, you know, why didn't either one of them call for help? It's also very strange. Like, they saw Iris there. Why didn't they call for help? I don't know. It was dark where the two of them were, so that's why they didn't see me. It was dark in the garden when the murder took place. Tell me, what did Miss Maya Fey do after she was struck? He dodged Mystic Lisa's next attack and stole her weapon. What happened to the victim's staff then? The air is very dark, so I really couldn't see. He got knocked away somewhere as the fight escalated. That doesn't make sense to me at all. That would explain the need for the dagger. Did she bring anything else, like a gun or bow and arrow? Is there anything that she did not bring that was a weapon? Mystic Lisa raised the dagger to strike. Mystic Maya dodged it at the last second. Dagger struck the lantern and fell to the ground. At some point, Mystic Maya picked it up. Nothing sounds especially strange yet. I still cannot make sense of this scenario, but yeah, okay. What did the victim do when the weapon was stolen from her? How do you steal a dagger from somebody? I mean, it's possible to disarm somebody, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I would argue that you need special training to do it. If you don't have that training, again, you can easily cut yourself or get stabbed. Why if they turn tables on the victim? Yes. Why would she attack her daughter? Corn fox is more dangerous than a jackal. I believe the correct description of a corn fox is scared and petrified. Your animal analogies have grown tiresome. You're the one who started it. Anyway, so after Maya backed the victim in the stone lantern, whatever next. Stab, hold it. Are you certain you saw that? Yes, I'm almost certain. Almost? The garden was dark. I couldn't really tell who was who. What did she just say? Again, like, how are we to believe anything she says? Really? In other words, it could have been someone else entirely. Objection. We know that Maya Fey was at the Inner Temple that night. And that the woman that was killed was Elise Donan. Isn't it fairly obvious who attacked her? I mean, even Iris's testimony was saying that Maya was defending herself. So there are like multiple questions and very, very few answers. Please continue testimony. Yes, Your Honor. Someone was riding a snowmobile and trying to hide the evidence. I don't know. And no one saw anything except Bikini saw Iris pulling the sword out. It's like the more you think about it, the less it makes sense. It's better to just keep pressing A. The two of them faced each other for a moment, then Mystic Maya rushed straight into Mystic Elise. The Mystic Elise doubled over and fell to the ground, so she was stabbed in the stomach, huh? Yes. Mystic Elise flung the knife away, but then she collapsed. Where did the dagger go? I have no idea, because it's dark and I couldn't see. Remember the detective who found the dagger. It was stuck in the pine tree in the garden. Most likely it was flung towards the tree after the struggle. That's the most likely explanation, yes. After being stabbed in the stomach, did the victim collapse right away? Now that I think of it, she seemed to stare at the Mystic Maya for a while. Mystic Maya stood there not moving an inch. Felt for a moment like time had stopped. And suddenly, as if the spell had worn off, Mystic Elise fell over. There's one thing that's completely impossible. Maya stabbing someone's impossible. Cool, do we have evidence to back that up, or are we just... we're just randomly... monologuing? Internal soliloquies. This faulty testimony must contain another contradiction in it somewhere. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to object on hunch. Your Honor, I don't think Maya would do that, so... you know... Man. And what's the deal with this? I don't know, there are so many questions. But really, this piece of evidence is completely bogus, too, is what it's saying. Because she wasn't even murdered there in the courtyard. She was murdered in the garden, apparently. We don't know what the bridge... Stab in the back. I'm gonna try to object here with the autopsy report and see what happens. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's the autopsy report. The game's just being a dick. Oh wow, there are 3 trials. Okay, never mind. There are 3 more episodes out of this garbage game. It has to be the 4th statement, by the way. Alright, yeah, whatever. I'll take kind of let's see, but that is some baloney. Alright, let's count this out, shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Objection!
Yay! We timed it right. I hate this game. Okay, whatever, dude. I got it right. Slam dunk. Thank you very much. Simple. People are like books. We've all got a front and a back. Get my drift? I'm gonna use the guide literally for the rest of this trial, because I am not getting a game over because this game is freaking baloney. That's all you have to say. I'll say the darkness loves to play with you. Objection! Please knock it off with the cheesy proverbs and illogical metaphors. The point is, too much of the testimony doesn't make sense. Throwing away useful staff, the people fighting being mother and daughter, and now she falsely claims the victim was stabbed in the stomach. There certainly are some inconsistencies. Well, Iris, how about it? Well, it's just... Yes, me, you're just being too naive about the whole thing. I wouldn't call it naivete. I would call it a reasonable amount of cynicism. Yeah, I almost wanted to use another word there. Suspicion, but I think cynicism is the exact word I mean to you. Like, you gotta look at it carefully, the facts of the case. You can't just be like, okay, sounds good. He says, what do you mean? You don't waste everyone's time by drinking this coffee and then talking about it. But to pick each one requires concentration and use of all the senses. Or are you really concentrating on what the witness actually said? Prosecutor Godot, explain yourself. The witness was quite unambiguous about her own ambiguity when she said that the garden was dark and she couldn't see clearly. I mean, then why would she say that then? I would counter with, why would she say that then? To me, it seems she could see enough to be able to make certain assumptions. And he means one thing to see clearly, and that is light. By the way, did you know Hazakura has a rule that on nights when acolyte is at... Yeah, I don't care. That's true. Shouldn't the witness have been able to see the crime? Normally, yes, Your Honor. According to the head nun, Sister Bikini, on the night of the crime, it was impossible to light that stone lantern. Impossible? It hadn't been used in a long time, and the wick was no good. In other words, it had to have been nearly pitch black in the garden that night. There could have been a faint light coming from the train hall, but that's all. Well, look at you, Mr. Forensics Expert. Wow. Looking at all of the environmental circumstances. Most enlightening. Yes, that illuminating fact has chased all the contradictions away. Not really. Because again, if she couldn't see anything, why is she saying she was stabbed in the stomach? That actually does not make sense. If the staff was dropped, it would be difficult to see. Also explains why they didn't recognize each other. And if you can't recognize someone in the dark, your first response is not going to be to attack them. That also doesn't make sense. You can't see the demons that lurk in the night. That's why humans are weak. Isn't that right, Tribulations? Yeah, so she couldn't see anything, so that's why she's able to just make up the testimony as she goes. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Order, order, order! Here, Your Honor. Let me present the stone lantern into evidence. Maybe we'll rekindle the flame of truth in your mind. Yeah, we've already seen it. It was not lit. Why is the judge just sitting there with that look on his face? What's wrong, Your Honor? What's that flame too hot? This lantern, there's something written on it. Why, it's written in blood. The judge didn't know about it. Written in blood. I'm surprised he didn't know about that either. It's pretty obvious. Yeah, everyone already knew that. Literally everyone already knew that. Alright, more brilliant testimony from Iris. After being cornered and stabbed by my mystic Elise, Misty didn't fall down right away. She must have been riding that on the stone lantern behind her. Yeah, because, you know, if you're fighting with someone, the first thing you're going to do is, alright, hold on, I'm dying. Let me just go ahead and write this down real quick. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. And it makes zero sense why Maya would write her own name for murdering her mom. But yeah, just keep up with the charade. There's that way, objection. Hang on. What are you all talking about? Oh, even Godot is lost. We're talking about the message written in blood. Nonsense. This lantern, it's as clean as a whistle. You can't see the bloody writing at all? You did say something to me yesterday. My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything. So that's what he meant by that. In any case, this is obviously an important clue. We know that the crime scene was dark, and the victim scrawled this message on the stone lantern. We also don't know that either. Because, again, anybody could have written that. And Mystic Misty, whatever she calls herself, Elise Donham, it's probable that she didn't write it at all. Because I would argue that it's impossible for someone to have written that as they're fighting or as they lay dying. Why would you write that? And meanwhile, Maya's just gonna like sit there and watch her. And then Iris comes around, grabs the body, drags it, has the Kura temple. There's no evidence at all of that. It's all just so strange. Let's move on. Ito is literally shaking somehow. I don't think it's from caffeine overdose. I believe it's now been established that Miss Donham was killed by my effect. That has not been established whatsoever, by the way. Like, it hasn't been established whatsoever. Time to turn our attention to you. So she fessed up to moving the body. We know that much. After the victim died, you did something, didn't you? Let's hear it. We're all ears. We already heard this, by the way. I called out to Miss Maya. I thought it was my duty to protect the future master of the current tradition. It's hard to say what makes less sense, actually, doesn't it? The fact that Maya killed her mom, or the fact that Iris did the cover-up. Like, both don't make any sense. Like, why would she cover for Maya? It's not like they really knew each other. Like, they didn't really know each other. I removed the body from the inner temple myself. I dragged it behind me all the way across the bridge. And yet no one saw any of this. And there's no evidence left behind. And it was snowing. There was enough snow on the ground for you to see someone's tracks in the snow. So how is there no physical evidence that she dragged the body from Inner Temple to Hazakura? Even using the snowmobile, there would have been some blood left behind or dragged, tracks, something. I used the snowmobile to carry it back to the temple, and I used the Shishito to alter the way the wind looked. So that must have been what Bikini saw. And that must have made no sense to Bikini. He's like, what the? So you moved the body. Yes, I was raised at Hazakura Temple. I have a great deal of thanks to the Fade clan. Even still, this makes zero sense. Elise Donham was actually Misty Faye. Again, the fact that you covered for Maya makes no sense at all. It still makes no sense. A terrible trick of fate. I believe you're looking for Twist of Fate, Your Honor. Someone was pulling my leg in the Washington Park. They said, you pushed her down, didn't you? And I hadn't, obviously. And I said something like, I can't remember what I said. Pulling my chain or something like that. I'm going to say, like, pulling my leg. Yanking my chain or something. I intended to return to the inner temple after taking care of the body. Alright, that's very revealing. And you're spotted by the head nut. That's why I couldn't go back. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, she's the murderer. Like, I don't know why you would move the body and try to cover it all up. Makes no sense. Hey, Rapture, cross-examination, cool.
Objection!
I mean, it makes zero sense. She stood there, she watched them fighting, she saw Mystic Misty get murdered by her own daughter. Then she drags the corpse to the Hazakura temple, stabs it. It actually makes no sense. She was timid, but she wasn't timid enough to hide the body. That makes zero sense. Isn't it your job as a judge to mediate the argument? It wasn't until Mystic Misty Maya saw me that it finally dawned on her what she had done. I mean, I don't know, dude. Of course I did. That's odd. Mr. Bikini didn't recognize Maya's name, let alone her position. She was a very special person indeed. Why did you do that? I didn't want Mystic Maya to be suspected in any way. I mean, again, why? The best thing would be to remove the body from the crime scene. Remove her body all by herself. Yes, I did. It would have been impossible if it wasn't for the snow. How did the snow make it easier? Pretty amazing you can make it all the way across. That's a rickety old bridge. Looks worse than it is. It's surprisingly sturdy despite its age. Like they say, idiots are too stupid to catch even a simple cold. There's one other thing that bothers me. Why not just throw the body into the river? Again. We've already had this entire scenario play out already in this game. People throwing bodies into the river. Including Dahlia Hawthorne throwing herself into the river, as we might recall. It would have been much easier than... And actually, Phoenix also fell into that river, right? He would just keep falling into that river. It would be much easier than dragging all the way to Hazakura. Thought that would still call too much suspicion on Mystic Maya. That's why I tried to take the body as far away as possible. Oh, it makes perfect sense to me. For the time being. That makes zero sense, kiddo. What the heck are you smoking? Anyway, what did you do after you crossed the bridge? I used the snowmobile. Snowmobile traveled from the temple to the bridge. Should I ask for more details? I would say tracks. Yeah, correct. Tracks. How were there no tracks? There should be track, yeah. The picture was presented at yesterday's trial. Are these the tracks from that ride? Yes, I think they are. But I can only see one set of tracks here. I don't see what's so strange about that. Snow was still falling when I left Hazakura Temple. I see, snow was still falling, huh? And then when the murder took place, it had already stopped. That's why there are such fresh-looking tracks. Very important. I like the statement Iris made added to the testimony. It does have something to do with the case. All be made clear if you allow her statement to be added to the record. This should be fun. Why does it need to be added to the record? She already stated it in court. Let's get this snow business cleared up, shall we? Yes, sir. By the time the murder took place, the snow had already stopped. I mean, there would still be two sets of tracks in the snow. There would either be two sets of tracks in the snow or none. Whether or not the snow had stopped. Right? Like, and I'm inclined to believe that there would still be tracks in the snow. Unless a significant enough amount of snow falls. This is snowmobile, you have to remember, it's also very heavy. And the size of the tracks left behind are going to be much deeper than even human footprints. And I'm not exactly like a forensics expert or crime scene expert in snowy areas, but by the time the murder took place, the snow had already stopped.
Hold it!
Snow stopped. According to you, that's why the snowmobile tracks were so clear. I think I've trapped her this time. I see how you think. Snow, huh? What is going on here? The snow really had stopped by the time of the murder. You mean there's a bigger hole in her story than the movie The Great Revelations? What? Let's share your theory. Let's see what's up your sleeve, or rather, at the end of your index finger. I don't think my logic is failing me. Iris is trying to pin the murder on Maya. Why would she do that? There's only one reason I can think of. Any guide, don't care. Weather data for statement. 1, 2, 3, 4. You say something about the storm, right? So bizarre too, isn't it? It's known until 10:50. So when did the murder take place? 10 to 11. Wow, that's really helpful.
Objection!
Snow stopped when the murder occurred. I'm sorry, that's not possible. This is the weather data from the night of the murder. According to this, the snow didn't stop until 10:50, sorry. But you couldn't have crossed Dusky Bridge at that time. Why do you say that? 5 minutes before the snow stopped, Dusky Bridge was struck by lightning and had caught on fire. What did you say? The bridge was on fire? How would she not know that? You didn't know about it? It was because of that lightning strike that the bridge burned down. Even the judge knew. It can't be, she says. It looks like you still haven't figured it out. No matter how hard you try to deceive or conceal the truth, you can't pull the wool over the eyes of a real defense attorney. Take that. Take that. Order, order, order! The bridge was already on fire when the incident took place. That's right, the inner temple, and again, we don't even really know because the autopsy report is so vague. 10 to 11, I mean, if you look at the weather data, it says lightning was... yeah. I mean, it says it occurred sometime between 10 and 11, the murder. It was snowing until 10:50. There was lightning for... Apparently the lightning storm, the thunderstorm lasted for an entire hour. The entire murder window from 10 to 11. So it's possible it was snowing and lightning. And lightning struck at 10:45, but again, we don't know when the murder took place. It's possible that the murder took place before the lightning striking, by the way, because again, it happened anytime between 10 and 11. Logically speaking. Dude, just lock her up, too. Moving the body alone, I think, is against the law. Even my patience has limits. Any further lying and I will hold you in contempt. Contempt? Book her for the cover-up. Are you kidding? Do you have anything to say for yourself?
Objection!
Objection. I'm surprised why Godot would bother coming to her rescue anyway. The only person here that's truly contempt is you. Yeah, why would he come to the rescue? Me, how dare you? Oh, this Twitter slider doesn't mean squat right now. I beg your pardon. It's hard to say, like, where Godot exactly is coming from. Like, it seems like he just keeps making increasingly nonsensical statements. Look, it doesn't matter who's lying. What's important is that we find out the truth. Don't you think that's going to be easier if people were actually telling the truth and not lying, you know? Did you go to elementary school? Like, whether it was snowing or not snowing, whether the bridge was burning or not. There are two facts that can't be disputed. First, the body of Lee Stoner was discovered in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. Second, the head nun, Sister Bikini, witnessed Iris desecrating Lee Stoner's body. Makes a good point on both counts. I mean, it's possible that she was not murdered in the garden, by the way. That's right, I'm not lying. It's possible that Iris was the murderer. What are you claiming this talk? I wasn't myself at all that night, so my memory is still somewhat hazy. I mean, like, almost dead to rights, she's the murderer, right? Objection! Try to get the objection. Objection! You've stood at the witness stand and testified this entire time. Are you telling us now that your memory that night is hazy? I mean, her memory's hazy. It was dark. She's making this up. I mean...
Objection!
I don't know why we're taking any of her testimony. It's only human error. You're so perfect, Wright. Maybe you can explain this for the court. Gladly. Go ahead, get out, quiz me. When the murder happened, the bridge had already burned down. Somehow the body traveled across the bridge and was found in the temple. By the way, we don't know that. It's possible she was murdered in the courtyard. Based on their autopsy report, too, it says she fell. Why has that not even been mentioned in this trial? Like we mentioned that on the first day of trials, and it hasn't been brought up since. I mean, it says she fell in the report. So how does that factor in with the whole garden scenario theory? I don't think it does, right? It's not possible, actually. Unless she fell out of her window, was either carried or walked to the garden and was murdered in the garden, and then carried back to Hazakura Temple, which seems absolutely crazy to me. But anyway, somehow the body traveled across the bridge and was found in the temple courtyard. And again, we don't know that. Perhaps use some kind of perfect explanation for this whole thing. Not exactly, no. I mean, just play your cards close, Phoenix. I mean, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to explain anything either. All I would say is it's possible she was murdered in the courtyard. All we have to do is look at Bikini's testimony and the autopsy report. We'll never know the truth. I mean, based on Larissa's amazing sketch, it seems like she flew across. It looks like the defense is not prepared to offer a suitable explanation. You see what I mean? In other words, I like mine black. You're in no position to suggest this lady's testimony isn't the truth. I mean, I don't need to suggest anything. The evidence is doing all the explanation for me. I mean, really, the evidence is doing all the work. Alright then, witness, let's hear your testimony once more. Yeah, you know, let's just spend all day listening to Iris just babble on and on about what could have happened. You admitted that you moved the victim's body. Your prior testimony contained a rather large inconsistency. So now we'd like to hear you explain it for the 5th time. Yes, Your Honor. This be your final testimony. I sure hope so, because I'm getting tired of this. Moving the body. It should be very informative. I mean, we know she's guilty of moving the body. To me, that is incredibly suspicious behavior, right? In reality, I think the only people who move bodies are the murderer. That is the only person who moves the body. And it's to hide the crime. Other people, random people, and third parties are not going to be moving the body to cover up for it. They are not going to do that stuff. Because the minute that you you touch that body and you're starting to move it around and stuff, all of a sudden you're the top suspect. Almost like right out the gate, you're the top suspect. Because the most natural question that rises, of course, from that is, why would you move the body? Unless you had some reason to gain. Unless you had something to gain from moving the body. And the person who is most likely to gain from a body being moved and or hidden is, of course, the original murderer. So, I mean, both Ron and Irish should have been locked up for the murders, in my opinion. Other than walking over the bridge, there's no way to move the body. Must have just got confused. Was the snow still falling or had it stopped? Does it really matter that much? Or are you saying that there is a way to cross a burning bridge? I would say there's no way to cross a burning bridge, but this game also has people coming back from the dead and channeling, like, the Ouija boards. I mean, I have no clue what's possible in this world. It was just a misunderstanding, I see. This is a photo of the bridge after it burned down from the lightning blast. It was taken on the morning after the incident. Wow. It certainly is burned to a crisp, and one of the suspension wires even snapped. It's amazing the whole bridge didn't fall. I don't know how anyone would have made it across that bridge. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be deemed the truth. Not by a long shot, Phoenix. Because, again, we just made the case that it's not possible someone carried it across the bridge. So that seems to disprove the entire Guardian theory. Just with that. And again, Maya wouldn't be accused at that point. Because Maya wasn't in her temple. She wasn't at Hazakura. So then if the murder took place in the courtyard, by the way, Maya has the perfect alibi. Alright. Only human error to forget is divine. Only humans can spot the errors of our ways. The more sense he makes, the less sense he makes. I mean, he's been talking nonsense this entire time. He's just been babbling as well. And we have been missing out on that amazing theme, sadly, in this episode. We've only heard it one time. One time. He's Mountain of Baloney. She likes to talk, so make her talk. Yeah, the snow stopped. I couldn't have crossed the bridge naturally. Body did make it across somehow. Well, you're the witness who moved the body, so maybe you can shed a little light. You seem to be quite sure of yourself when you gave your testimony. You said you were sure the snow had already stopped. I'm terribly sorry I was wrong. Is she really thinking apologies are going to get her off the hook? I mean, I don't think the snow matters. What matters is that the bridge was on fire and it couldn't be crossed. That is the most important thing. Everything else is just like static and noise and a red herring. Okay? It really isn't important. Whether or not it was snowing, it's not important. What's important is whether or not that bridge could have been crossed. Because if it couldn't have been crossed, that calls into question that the murder occurred in the garden in the first place. If the murder occurred in the courtyard, then Iris again is the prime suspect. Not mine. And if I was in this court, I would actually explain that to everybody in the court. If they weren't privy to that fact. I'd be like, yeah, Maya is no longer a suspect if the murder occurred in the courtyard. And if the bridge can't be crossed, logically speaking, the murder couldn't have occurred in a temple. It just isn't possible. Unless, there's some stuff. The body flew across the bridge or teleported. We may never know. Now, Iris is asking philosophical questions about the weather of the nature of weather and weather patterns. To which Phoenix says, "This is no joke. You're giving sworn testimony in a court of law." Oh, Mr. Wright, let me ask you a question. Do you remember what the weather was like 1 week ago today? Let's see, it's July 14th. On July 7th, I'm pretty sure it was sunny. Let's see, what day was that? It was a Friday. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was sunny. I don't think it was raining. We have had some pretty spontaneous thunderstorms, but I don't think they've been pretty sparse. Oh my gosh, the weather doesn't matter, dude. What matters is whether or not the bridge was on fire. And we already confirmed it was on fire.
Objection!
Okay, yeah, we're talking about random stuff here. Great. I don't see what the importance is. The body crossed the bridge while it was on fire.
Hold it!
You're gonna have to present the sketch, obviously. I don't know why we have to prove that the body flew across the bridge. To me, that seems completely absurd. No, you know what? It flew across the bridge. Again, we're trying to... I don't know what we're trying to do, but really we're trying to not get Maya jail time, right? Like, and the best way to do that, again, is by not explaining that. Rested. Larry or whatever he called himself nowadays. Yeah, whatever. Just present the evidence, dude. Yeah, exactly. Larry's sketch. I mean, you can present it on any of your statements. Wow. I mean, in this sketch, I think explains, like, virtually nothing. Because, I mean, it's just a picture of someone flying. Like, how does that explain anything? Where is it? No, not that one. Oh, is this one here?
Objection!
Yeah, I don't know why Phoenix needs to explain this, but okay. Yeah, why Phoenix has to explain this, I have no idea, but okay. The only thing that's possible about your claim is that it's been pulled out of thin air. I don't know about that. In any case, we have a witness who did see it happen. Larry the Cable Guy Butts. Remember what he said? The night he was at the Mountain Shack Heavenly Hall. That's when he witnessed the events. This explains absolutely nothing, by the way. It's an exact drawing of what he witnessed. Today's not April Fool's Day, is it? Mr. Wright, are you seriously claiming that the victim flew through the air? Are you using this pathetic scribble to support your argument? I don't know what Phoenix is doing. Ah. There's nowhere for you to hide now, other than looking like it was drawn by a 6-year-old. Does it prove anything? No. And I don't know who in the right mind would claim otherwise. I know your tricks. You're trying to turn this whole thing upside down. You're so eager to turn this case upside down, why not start with the sketch? Upside down? Why do you say that? Do I need to turn the sketch upside down to see the bigger picture? Let's hear the defense's theory. It kind of... Let's see, if you turn it upside down... it looks like someone's falling off a bridge, right? Kind of, yeah. Looks like someone's being thrown off the bridge if you flip it upside down. What exactly is this sketch trying to show? I don't think the old whisker face is going to forgive any more mistakes. I believe you have to say this. I mean, really, I would say the first one, but I think the game expects you to say the bottom one. Oh, man. You could say exactly what happened and it will not penalize us. They flew using the power of magic. Wow, and then the game just returns you to where it was again. Again, if this was a blind playthrough, you'd be totally screwed. You wouldn't know what to do, and you'd probably continuously get penalized. Through trial and error, you'd have to figure this out, that you have to go back and say this. And you're going to drive yourself nuts presenting false pieces of evidence to try to say what you really want to say. You know. Yeah. I don't know why you're defending the sketch. Stated over and over, that sketch he saw is as he saw it. We're to believe this testimony, the sketch contradicts reality. Reality? No, reality! You're pointing the finger again. What exactly contradicts reality as we know it? These wires. Ah, is that thing that contradicts reality? Is indeed show us the reality it supposedly conflicts with. Show us something that will point out how the sketch contradicts reality. It's the bridge photo! Yeah, there you go. Cheese, eggs, and bacon. Good. Compare them for a minute. The wires appear to be above the ground wires on the actual bridge. Up in Jehoshaphat. The wires are below the guard wires. I have no clue. And people, no one else would know this. Order, the sketch is somewhat different than the watcher and painter's photo! Oh, what? Isn't it likely that the artist just saw it wrong? It might sound upside down because, again, he is himself upside down. Sound like you're just wrong. Someone like Louisa made a mistake is a definite possibility. But that begs the question, why did he make a mistake? What was the reason? Are you saying you know the answer to that? Remember what Luis was doing when he witnessed the event. He was at Heavenly Hall waiting for a lover that was never going to come. He waited and waited. Finally, he laid down. He's like me. But then, lightning shoots from the sky and sets a bridge aflame. I don't know what sort of position he must have been in at the time. He was lying on his back, which is why he remembered the scene the way he did. I feel like we need one of those, like, Mexican announcers. One of the, like, Lucha Libre announcers. He was lying on his back. I can't see how it relates. It does, Your Honor, because this would have been drawing upside down. Bro, people are not going to draw things upside down. They're going to get up and then draw it normally. This game, something that just ticks me off, you know? He witnessed it while lying on his back. Wow. I said it all along, dude. I said it all along. I mean, it makes even less sense than before, because, I mean, who's following it? The bridge is burned to a crisp. There's no way to get across it. If the body had been found at the temple, it would have caused problems. This is where the criminal decided to take a gamble. Use the brain bridge to get the body across the other side. Pendulum was the only way to get it done.
Objection!
I mean, what Phoenix is saying makes zero sense, but okay. I personally think someone's falling off the bridge. But again, even that makes no sense, because who's falling? Is it Dahlia? Is it Iris? If it was Iris, how did she get around to moving the body? Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Dusty Bridge is about 20 yards long. It means it's about to that far from the inner temple to the opposite cliff. Yeah, let's just keep throwing out random facts. Why don't we? That sounds right. 20 yards. In order to cover that distance with a pendulum, you need a rope at least 10 yards long. To get a rope that long, you have to plan ahead. Objection! A landing strike that night can only have been an accident. It doesn't make sense that the culprit would have prepared the rope beforehand. So what? I mean, it's possible the rope wasn't made of, what's it called? Lengths of thread. You have to get the rope ready. The rope is already right for them. What? No, it's ready. It's saying that it was just a matter of using what was already there. Mr. Wright, please give an explanation. We haven't had enough explanations today. Do we need more explanations? The criminal had a rope on the hand to create the pendulum. Is it this? I think it is. I think it is this, the talisman, right? Dusky Bridge photo. Again. Isn't this crazy?
Take that!
Present the photo yet again. This is one of the wires from the bridge. The lightning struck the bridge and set it on fire. When the suspension wires came loose from its anchor. The criminal didn't have any time to waste. So they tied the wire around Elise Dunham's body. I mean, even if that was the case, how do you prevent her body from receiving burns? Because remember, the bridge itself was on fire, so... that must have been some, like, MacGyver stuff, dude. Like, how is that even possible? Yeah, okay. Not only that, but the rope itself probably would have been on fire. There's no way to move the body! Oh. Get my cups of coffee and I'll go and finish. Mr. Godot. Seems that Mr. Godot is more focused on his coffee than answering my question. The odds of a rope being readily available are very high, so I suppose that it's not an impossibility.
Objection!
Why would you need to explain that? I don't know. Possible or impossible? That's not the question we need to ask. Yeah, it is. Because if it's impossible, we can safely rule it out. As long as it is possible, there is reasonable doubt. And yes, that rhymes. Thank you very much. There's only one question. Did that really happen? Sorry, can you prove that happened? Do you have actual evidence your body was struck over like a pendulum? This is the autopsy report. Do not present the talisman. I mean, you can even present the ball here. I think I'm going to present the ball.
Take that!
Yeah, I'm going to present the ball. One of the wires snaps. Looking at the map, you can see it's the one from the inner temple side. That was the spot where the criminal. Yes, precisely. Let's consider the body's movement by looking at the overhead map. The body is pushed from this point here. It's going to land on the other side. Yeah, right. If this happened in real life, by the way, the body would probably be, having burns. It would probably hit the side of the opposite cliff, resulting in also, what do they call it? Physical trauma. Did you say drop? Must have failed to catch the body on the other day. What makes you think something like that happened? I have evidence that suggests her body dropped some distance. What kind of movements? Take a look at this autopsy report. Okay, it presents the autopsy report anyway. Body fell about 10 feet after her death. 10 feet, huh? It's most likely the height difference between two sides. The body overswung due to forward momentum, but then came loose and fell about 10 feet. Yeah, and there was no evidence of this on the body. Okay. Yeah, sure. This theme is the best thing about the game. I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now. It's the best thing about the game. I thought this coffee might cool you down. What's the meaning of this, Mr. Goodall? First, Von Karma assaulting people with a whip, and now you with coffee? What kind of courtroom is this? That was a dark and bitter guess that you made, right? But you forgot about one thing. The power of love. You love it. Yeah, it makes about as much sense. Copy's most reliable accomplice is as deep work on Roma. The rest of the court doesn't speak Coffinese. Can you elaborate a bit more? The criminal had sent the body to the other side, as you say. And naturally, there must have been an accomplice lying in wait to catch it. I mean, it makes zero sense. The criminal wasn't able to cross Dusky Bridge. But who collected the body? No, we lost it. Dahlia Hawthorne is the accomplice. It was Dahlia, right? Dahlia Hawthorne. Oh, Iris. Man, this is so confusing, dude. Yeah, don't present Dahlia here, you're gonna get penalized. Hate to say it. Hate to say it, but you will get penalized. Representing Dahlia.
Objection!
I mean, there was just no rational explanation for any of this. Right, were you even listening to the testimony? On the night of the crime, this Lord Purified was on cleanup duty in the inner temple after the mother-daughter bloodbath. Ah man, I don't even know why she was that. Yeah, good job. Susan had to the temple, desecrating the corpse of the victim. And really, she was in like 5 different places at once, apparently. I would think she's guilty just based on the fact that she moved the body again. Almost as if, on that night, the defendant was in 2 different places at the same time. Sister Iris, let me ask you something. Why didn't you mention it when you first gave your testimony? Mention what? The pendulum, of course. Using the sketch drawn, an eyewitness, I've established how the body was moved using the burnout bridge. Which means it's now a fact that this occurred, something you should have already known. I mean, no, this is just a theory, by the way. I believe it's called deductive reasoning. You deduced that this occurred. So it's really still a theory. It's not proof at all. Because again, you have no evidence that that actually occurred other than this photograph of the rope hanging down. Yeah, like there's no. I mean, I guess you could say like the ball, the fact that the ball was there, but I mean, really, the ball is the only evidence. The autopsy report is the only evidence that a body was swung across the bridge. Anyway. Couldn't have been passed along without your help, so you should have known about it. It'd be impossible for you to be clueless about the whole thing unless you were really Irish to begin with. How can you say that, Mr. Wright? You're saying the witness isn't Iris of Hazakura Temple?
Objection!
Objection! Are you serious? Try. You mean this woman is an imposter? First it was Elise, now it's Iris and Dahlia. I've been saying it pretty much from the first episode that Iris was Dahlia. She's trying to pin this movie on mine. Even standing there at the witness stand, the real name is... BAM! How does he not know his girlfriend? Yeah, I don't know. Just for imagination purposes. This file contains all the relevant data about Dahlia Halpern. She still looks the exact same, by the way. Which makes it even more strange that Phoenix can't remember her. Dahlia Halpern is dead. Says her execution trade all those what? People can come back from the dead, apparently. So that there's no meaning in this courtroom. Whoa. I mean, yeah, apparently people can come back from the dead. I mean, that does raise a very important, I think, philosophical question. I mean, of course, this is obviously all like baloney make-believe land, whatever. But in a world where death is not permanent, people can come back from the dead. Does murder have the same implications on me? And I would say no. I mean, maybe it wouldn't even have that much jail time in that case. Because really, it wouldn't even really matter if death had no meaning. We're able to come back from the dead. Objection! You of all people should already understand. After all, the blood of the master of the train checking technique was within my body. You're not Dahlia Halpern herself. You're the spirit of Dahlia currently inhabiting the body of the spirit of Dahlia. An exciting story, exciting but quite impossible. As against the body, that Dahlia Halpern just happened to be channeled by someone. On the very night of the murder, to a temple where her twin sister Iris was. If you're going to put things that way, then yes. Objection. You're supposed to believe a coincidence just like that just happened. Objection! It was no coincidence. The whole thing was part of a plan from the very beginning. It's all written right here in these instructions. They're written by Morgan Bay. That was his name. Part of the plan called for Dahlia Halpern to be channeled. That night, there were 2 irises at Hazakura. Even the time of the channeling was planned out. As soon as you hear the lights out bell, in other words, 10 o'clock, Iris was seen before dinner. That means that dinner was a real Iris, and Iris was a real Iris as well. The Iris who gave me this hood in the main hall was the real Iris. The Iris' sister Bikini saw in her temple with someone else dressed as her, namely one daughter. you even know what you're saying, Tribes? This whole channeling spirit of Dahlia Hawthorne business? Yes, it's true that you found plans to talk about it. However, there's one thing that's pretty clear. The witness currently standing in the witness stand is the real Iris. How do you know that? What, you ran her DNA? That's kind of a scary question, too. How do you prove someone's identity? I mean, of course, you could say, like, social security numbers and stuff like that, but, I mean, even then, I think that's part of the reason why identity theft occurs in the first place, because it's such a messy subject, like, someone's identity. Of course, you're known by your friends and family, but if all your friends and family are gone, like, how do you prove who you are, like, your identity? Remember what you know about the night of the crime. Dahlia Hawthorne that had been channeled had been stranded in her temple due to the lightning strike. I mean, I don't know how someone can be in two different places. I mean, she still has to be in two places. There's later that body was moved by pendulum. That's right. Naturally, that would mean that Iris was received. Iris that received the body was the real Iris. Are you with me so far? Yes. After being notified what happened, the police came to Hazakura Temple's main hall. I mean, in any case, Iris had something to do with the murder, we know that. They found Iris in a room and arrested her. Iris says she's been under police supervision at the detention center. Did I any of that? Ooh, thank goodness. I think he's finally convinced. It seems odd. He's not convinced that Iris here is the same one from the other night. Oh, you're about to say something really ridiculous. Real Iris and the spirit of Dahlia somehow switch places. That's exactly what I'm saying, as a matter of fact. Iris doesn't have the spiritual power needed to channel Dahlia. Which means they must have switched places somewhere. That's right, since the time she was arrested at Hazakura Temple. Have there been any chances for Iris to switch places with Dahlia? Just one, Your Honor. For a few minutes, Iris's whereabouts were unknown. Unknown? Unknown. What do you mean unknown? What I mean is, there was a span of time in which Iris was able to move out freely unsupervised. Who was it? Who would give a murder suspect time to move about freely like that? Edgy boy. You already know that.
Take that!
Edgeworth. Your Honor, there was a large earthquake. An earthquake. An earthquake. It shook the place. And the king said, my goodness, Inner Temple, it's tremor. And that is when it happened. Edgeworth didn't do his job. He wouldn't let anyone else go with him, and, you know, he lost the suspect. Guess he's a professional. He just doesn't act like it. She was still in police custody. They'd already switched places by that point in time. When I arrived at the hall, I was met by none other than Dahlia. Stay here. Be quiet. Been a long time, Mr. Judge. That voice. Guess I'll have to ask again. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, I always ask for her name and profession. That's one of my rules. Why wouldn't she properly... And I do like this theme, too. Like, Dahlia's theme is pretty awesome. As a matter of fact, I'd say, like, behind Godot's theme, this is number 2. Victor Kudo's theme is number 3. Yeah, this theme is excellent. Like, is actually a good thing. It is just so good, her theme. I haven't talked about it that much, but I do like it a lot. Criminal retard, she says. Wow. Not going to bother hiding your identity, y'all. Or should I? After all, I'm dead. There's really nothing you can do to punish me. Alright, she's showing us a different side, finally. What's going on here? Dolly Hopper, I never thought we'd meet again. I never thought we'd meet like this. In a courtroom. Talking to your dead spirit. I'll end it for her, for myself, for the whole of humanity. I will end her for good. And to play us off with Dolly's amazing theme. I'm actually probably going to look it up after this episode, because it is so good. Yep, part 2, and then there will be 3 parts total. So really, we have 2 more episodes for you kids at home. Alrighty, folks. Well, that was a doozy. Check it out, Scary Game Squad. Can't really see it because it says scary, by the way, not sorry. Scary Game Squad. There you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Donations to Venmo Stormer Show. Thanks for following me through this series. I know it's been an absolute battle. This episode was 2 hours long, by the way. Just when you think you're getting to the end, it's like,